we on?
Welcome to this lovely stream where I convince... I've dragged two friends against their wills to convince them that these terrible movies are not that terrible. We're gonna...
I'm Jazzy Oliver. I'm a voice actress, primarily known for roles such as Paintbrush and Inanimate Insanity, as well as Mr. Shiny and Deadly Night. If you're a fan of ants, you probably remember me from the last stream where we talked about Lily Orchard. That's the extent of what I do. So,
I am Kyla T. Right now I'm beginning to make video essays. I've done a couple of popular videos. One talking about a very controversial creator, and the other one about Elvis, which I don't know why that one took off, but go ahead.
That one really took off, though.
It did. I was shocked.
I was like thinking, oh wow, that looks like a good video. It'd be fun. And then look at the view count. I'm like, oh god.
wait. So you did one video on a controversial creator and one on Elvis. That's the same.
Honestly, you're right. You're right. But you might know me. I only did one thing on Ant's channel, and that was the very first video that he did. I did a voiceover, and I'm very proud to have been a part of it. Yeah.
And you helped me out with the script. Oh yeah, you did a voiceover too. Actually, I'm sorry.
Right. I read Yowie for you because that's all I'm good. That's all you dragged me to do, Ant.
Listen, Jazzy. Listen. Jazzy. My dear friend Jazzy. Would anyone else in the world want to read Yowie more than you?
I can think of a few people, yeah.
That's fair. Fair point, actually. Let me know next time they show up. Anyway. So I got a comment here asking what I'm drinking. Well, in this case, to honor the golden raspberries, I decided to have a Manhattan with terrible whiskey because it looks pretentious, but when you break it down to its core components, it is cheap, mildly disgusting, and you feel bad after consuming it.
Sounds like Malort.
Well, the difference is I actually like Manhattans. I don't like Malort. Malort's just a bad decision all around. Like, it's just a bad choice. There's no good side to drinking Malort. Like, under any circumstances. I'm sorry to say. It's just...
That's very true.
Yeah, it's just bad. So, the Golden Raspberry Awards, as they're officially known, here's a trivia question for you, either of you, and you cannot look this up, even though I know you have access to phones and computers. What actor has won the most Razzie Awards? Without looking it up. If you look it up, then, that's no fun.
Like actor or actress or both?
I'm not specifying gender.
Okay. I'm going to guess Bo Derek.
You think Bo Derek?
Yes, because Bo Derek is in, like, especially in the 80s and part of the 90s, was in a lot of crap. So and the Razzies specifically like to give awards to her. Understandably, because the one movie I've seen in this marathon with her, because I skipped one due to certain content, didn't paint a flattering picture of her performance ability, so I'm going to say Bo Derek.
Yeah, Bo Derek's... She's a character. Kyla, you gonna lock in your guess?
I'm going for Adam Sandler for 200.
Ooh. What if I told you you're both wrong?
Oh, who was it?
Sylvester Stallone. A chat figured it out first.
I should have guessed.
Yeah, that tracks.
With 12 victories under his belt.
God damn.
That tracks. He was in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Which is a terrible movie. I was gonna say amazing.
It is.
I can't even defend that one.
Yeah. Oh god, that was... I forget what year it came out, but I remember when we were doing our Razzie marathon, I remember a lot of the movies that were winners for the Razzies I didn't think were deserving of the award. And I remember the year Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. That was the one that should have won. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it, because I put it all on a spreadsheet, keep in mind, because I'm that much of a...
Oh, yeah, no, and I have a list of all the different Razzie Awards.
So the movie that won over Stop or My Mom Will Shoot is Shining Through, which was a bad movie, but it's not nearly as bad as Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
No, nowhere near.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot literally had a scene with Stallone in a diaper.
Yeah.
No.
That's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, that being said, though, I do love the story behind why Sylvester Stallone was in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh yeah, it's great.
That's the one where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone, back in the day, they had this huge rivalry. Like, they were, back and forth, the biggest stars in Hollywood. And Stallone learned about Stop My Mom Will Shoot and pretended to be interested in it just because he knew that Stallone, to beat his rival to the punch, would jump in and, like, play the main role, knowing it was garbage. I do love that. I do love that. He got him to do that. Okay, so here's how the game's going to work. I'm going to go down the various winners of the Razzie Awards. Films I've seen and what have you, and I'm going to defend them. They may not be in order of release. I might jump around a little bit.
Okay.
I'm also going to mention movies that were nominated as well.
That's fine.
For example, I have actually not seen Can't Stop the Music, the very first Razzie Worst Picture winner.
I have.
You have seen it, because you've seen all of them. However, I have seen almost all the other films.
Right. I've seen all of them. Like, we're in the marathon we are, and we've gotten up to 2001. But yeah, I can tell you, Can't Stop the Music was fucking terrible. So
it was bad? Okay, I'll take your word for it, Jazzy.
It was really bad.
But I have seen some of the other films nominated for Worst Picture in 1980, including Cruising, Friday the 13th, the Jazz Singer, and Xanadu. I have seen those.
The only one of those I've seen is Friday the 13th.
Which is a masterpiece of terrible horror. I'm not a fan of Friday the 13th, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge...
Oh, I get to be the good person here, because I liked the first Friday the 13th.
I don't like the first Friday the 13th all that much. I mean, I like it, but I prefer parts 2, 3, and 4 way more than the first one.
I prefer 2 and 4, but 3 was a gigantic piece of shit, so...
Yeah, but 3 had the annoying friend who, like, everyone kind of hates.
The misogynist? Oh, yeah, he was such an endearing part of the movie.
I loved it when he got... I mean, he's such a terrible entry in that film. And the fact that... I also love how they have, like, all the 3D effects in the movie. Although, I'm not gonna lie...
I don't.
It was kind of weird to me watching it because, like, that one scene where they have the eyeball... Not the eyeball popping out, but the guy who's just holding an eyeball and shoves it in the camera. And when I was first watching it, I was thinking, like, what is that? Like, because it's so shaky and weird and unclear. I'm like, what even is... What am I looking at? It doesn't make sense to me.
But the point is, in terms of the first Friday the 13th, which is somehow the only Friday the 13th movie to ever get nominated for Worst Picture, which is stunning to me.
I'm surprised Part 5 didn't get nominated.
I'm surprised Part 5... Did I say Fart 5? It might as well be a fart. Anyway, Part 5 and Part 8 both should have been nominated.
8 is the worst one, I think.
Yeah, 8 is fucking awful.
I know a lot of people say, like, Jason Goes to Hell is bad, but, like, it's so
Jason Goes to Hell is funny.
Yeah, it's so strange, it's kind of fun. Like, I enjoy every second of that movie, but 8 is
I like
usable.
the first one. I like the first one because it's very reminiscent of just this old, grimy, kind of trashy 80s horror that I kind of dig. So... I honestly like it, especially for the last 20 minutes with Pamela Voorhees, which I think are fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
no, 100%. I love everything with Pamela Voorhees. I just adore that whole everything is fantastic. I just love it.
Right. So I'm one of those. Like, I know the first one is often seen as like one of the bad ones, usually, depending on who you ask. But I really like I really enjoyed the first one for what it was. It's not great, but I had fun.
Yeah, I just don't like the 4-minute scene where they're making coffee.
Are you kidding? And the coffee is an essential aspect to the plot, you see.
Jazzy, I'm Italian. We love coffee. I was born with a cup of coffee. When the day my mother gave birth to me, they gave her a cup of coffee in the labor room. She could not, of course, drink it because she was, in fact, asleep after giving birth for 9 hours of labor. But, I was baptized in espresso. Like, so anyone who should love coffee, it should be me. And that scene is too much coffee in a movie for just my interests.
Well, clearly you don't understand artistic intent.
I'm very sorry. I don't understand the artistic intent of showing the entire scene of someone slowly making coffee. It doesn't take me that long to make coffee.
And the intent of the scene is that even in the worst moments, even when a killer is on the loose, bitches need their coffee.
That's fair. Also,
don't try to stab me without my coffee.
Oh God, no! I'm not exactly in the middle of the night too, which is perfect. One movie that was up for did not get nominated for Worst Picture, but did get nominated. I think won a couple of Razzies. For the first year, I believe, was The Shining.
I can see that.
The original Shining, I think, is a masterpiece, but at the time, but we've really shifted in critical opinion of the film, I think, over time.
Right,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I think, okay, fine. If you don't like the film and you thought it was badly directed, fine, nominate Stanley Kubrick. He's an asshole. Fuck him. But I thought it was a complete dick move to nominate Shelley Duvall for Worst Supporting Actress, and I think she won it, didn't she?
I believe she won. Let me just double check before I say that for certain. I believe she did win.
Oh, that's some bull. But
Yeah,
she was really good.
Actually, Shelley Duvall did not win.
Okay, but the fact that she was even
Brooke
nominated.
Shields for the Blue Lagoon won. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that, because that's bad for another reason. That just
Oh, jeez.
that starts the Oscars' long history of making fun of children.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, Faye Dunaway was up for a Razzie in the 1980, but she had to wait until next year to win, along with Bo Derek.
What was
Yeah.
she up for in that?
Oh, that's the subject of our first discussion, actually. The first film I'm going to defend, the Razzies gave to Worst Picture, 1981, is Mommy Dearest.
Oh, who voted for that? I'm gonna kick
A lot of people voted for it, apparently.
So I'm of the opinion that Mommy Dearest is almost a good movie. Almost.
That's fair.
But I think it misses the mark.
Okay, why do you think... Okay, so I want to hear your opinions first. No, I think Kyla's on my side already. That Mommy Dearest is actually great. But, Jazzy, why do you think Mommy Dearest isn't a good movie?
Because it took this so I'm not going to talk whether or not any if any of the events happened. Like, there's a lot of debate, obviously, whether the memoir it was based on was truth or entirely fictitious. I'm not going to touch that subject with a 20-foot pole.
Okay, and let's
But I
assume,
am
by the way,
gonna
we're not
go
going
in-
to talk about real life with this. This is all movies.
Right.
So anything
So,
that
so I'm not going to talk about, like, the real life events it's based on. But I am going to talk about, okay, so regardless of whether you believe Christina Crawford's story, this is a portrayal of child abuse from, like, conducted by an actress who, like, this well-known actress who, like, a lot of people couldn't see as this potential monster of a person who hurt her child. And while I think the film had good intentions in what it was portraying, I think it was sloppy. And in being sloppy, it became kind of exploitative a bit. Now, that being said, I think the scenes that focus specifically on Christina are really good because the actresses they got were actually okay. And I think a lot of, like, how she deals with life outside of that abuse is interesting to see. But I think the problem is they took this film, they took this story that's supposed to be horrific and horrifying, and they made it kind of a joke. And, like, they turned this horrifying situation into a joke about wire hangers. And while I find that scene unintentionally hilarious, as a lot of people do, I kind of feel bad I really feel bad that it turned out this way, because I shouldn't feel that way about a scene of someone hurting a child.
Okay, that's fair. Kyla, I want to hear your opinion before I share my own, because I feel like I think we're gonna be on the same page. I think on this one, I have a feeling.
Yeah, although I think my reasoning might be different from yours in the fact that I kind of equate. So for me, it hits. Let me see, because you're right. This is it should be a very serious, dramatic story being told, but it's the way that Faye Dunaway plays Joan Crawford, because Joan Crawford was almost like a parody of what that woman really wanted to be. Like, that's not even her real name. I don't even think we know what Joan Crawford's real name actually is. And it's hard to, like, almost mimic and get into the habit of someone who probably wasn't really being themselves. And all you have to work with is what they gave you on screen and what this other, and from the source material. So she was working with that, but she took it to such the extreme that her portrayal adds an unintentional, like, bit of hilarity to it. And I kind of equate this movie with, this is going to be really bad for those who've seen it, but have y'all ever seen the TV movie Man in the Mirror?
Isn't it the Michael Jackson?
Yes, and look, man. Before we go any further, look up a picture of Flex Alexander. That man is a dark chocolate, and they got him in pancake makeup playing Michael Jackson.
Okay, I have one for Flex Alexander playing Michael Jackson. Oh, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
But I will say so far, yeah, I agree. I'll say.
Oh no.
To add one more note, I do think Faye Dunaway's performance is something to be seen, for better or worse. So.
Yeah.
This is really bad. Actually, I'm kind of. Oh no.
But the thing is like, the movie tried to condense so much of like his life into that TV movie, and it also, yeah.
I think the thing is, like, on one hand, yeah, I think I'm with you in this one. Faye Dunaway, as a figure in history, was so over the top because she really was performing in every instance of her life, even privately. So I think, like, to capture that on screen, you have to have, like, the right level of madness to already go in.
Yeah.
You have to be a little unhinged. So, unfortunately, Faye Dunaway has the unenviable task of, like, so Joan Crawford, not Faye Dunaway, Joan Crawford. Faye Dunaway has the unenviable task of trying to capture Joan Crawford's, like, manic energy at every given moment, even when she's being horribly abusive. But there's some genuinely disturbing scenes in this movie. Like, I think what makes it so effective and so memorable decades later is because, I'm not saying it's a great movie, it's obviously flawed, but I think what makes it so interesting is how it hits such extremes simultaneously. Like, at some points, the acting is so hammy and over the top. It is funny. Probably unintentionally so. But also, it's deeply unsettling. There are some really weird things in this movie. Like, I find deeply disturbing. And, like, it's the quieter moments, too. Like, I don't remember them as well as the hangar scene and all that. But, like, just scenes of, like, just the way Faye Dunaway will, like, look at the camera, look at her daughter. There's moments where it's so unsettling and creepy.
Well, going. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Saying going to that. So, and well, to finish my other point, I was just saying, like, because in the Man in the Mirror movie, they tried to, like, condense so much of his life, and they even brought up, like, some of the allegations that were going on at the time, because this was, like, 2001, so they were allegations at the time. Mm-hmm. And they, they try to bring it up and, like, make a very impartial stance, and you're trying to get into that message of the movie, but you can't get over the fact that this tall, like, really dark-skinned black man is in pancake makeup and a bad wig, playing Michael Jackson. So it's kind of like you can't get, Faye Dunaway is doing such a performance that going to that wire hanger scene, like literally right after that, which is like a really, it could be a very like unintentionally funny scene, but immediately it goes to the bathroom scene where she's trying to scrub the bathroom tiles and get Christina in there, and then literally just starts like hitting the girl with the bottle of the Comet. And it's like, oh my god, like the tone whiplash is just all over it's just all over the place, and it makes you not know how to feel, because one minute you could be like, oh my god, that was so ridiculous, and then the next minute completely horrified because you don't know which way to turn.
Deeply. And I think, honestly, the comedy makes the horror worse. Like, more effective, I mean to say. Like the disturbing components of it just hit harder because it's more shocking. I think because of this film's reputation, you get like this almost like you're put on ease, You think, okay, going in, it's going to be a goofy, fun little romp. You're going to have a fun time. You're going to see some cheesy bits. And then you're not expecting the actual child abuse to happen on screen. Like, it's very upsetting. I find it very disturbing. But I think we have an idea. Jazzy, have either of us convinced you this film is secretly incredible? and a work of art?
Like I said, I don't. No, like I said, I think it's almost good. Like I'll say, I don't know if it necessarily deserved Worst Picture that year because there were a lot of things I liked, but I can't say it all came together well. It's a movie with good ideas, but I think it just kind of missed the mark. That's all it is to me.
Okay, fair enough. Now here's a question. Now as part of this game, I'm also gonna list the other contenders that year, for Worst Picture. I'm gonna ask you if you think Mommy Dearest deserved to win against these films. So,
Okay.
Endless Love, which is I've never seen, has Brooke Shields in it. I've never seen this movie, so it's Tom Cruise's film debut, Endless Love.
Okay.
So I guess it did something good.
It was boring.
Oh, you have seen it? Okay, I've never seen
Yeah,
this
it
one
was
before.
just it was just boring.
That sounds about right. This is one I think is a little underrated. Heaven's Gate, the film that destroyed United Artists and
I haven't seen
Michael
that.
Cimino's career. So it's like
I've seen it.
I think it's interesting. I think it's a little boring, but it's interesting. It's what's it? Chris Christopherson, Christopher Walken, John Hurt, Brad Dourif's in it, Jeff Bridges. It was the follow up to Deer Hunter essentially. I think it's interesting, but I can't say it's more than that. I think its reputation is more interesting than the movie itself.
Yeah, pretty much, because I tried to watch that movie at least 4 times and kept falling asleep.
It's very
And
slow.
It's very slow, and I get the reason why, but at some point you got to pick it up, man.
Yeah.
And I will say that it deserved to be nominated because of that horse. R.I.P.
Yeah.
to Seabiscuit.
That's but also Christopher Walken's in the movie. How could it be that boring? The guy makes everything interesting. Here's one I've also not seen: The Legend of the Lone Ranger. It's apparently Christopher Lloyd's in this one. I don't know, but I think the one that should have been nominated, that should have won, is Bo Derek's Tarzan the Ape Man.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen that movie, but judging by the fact that it's a Bo Derek film, I'm gonna say that should have probably won.
Oh,
Yeah,
it should have won. Oh, it should have won. Because
Yeah.
I got curious one night after watching somebody review it, and I saw it. Oh, it should have won. Oh.
It's bad. It's basically a while back when I think when that one Tarzan movie with Alexander Skarsgård came out. I did like a whole Tarzan marathon because I'm thinking, oh, these books are pretty cool. I guess I'll just jump right in and like revisit these old Tarzan books, Tarzan movies, I should say. And I watched the Gray Stoke one from the '80s with the guy from Highlander, and that was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. It's
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert, his version I think is pretty solid. It has like a Victorian novel feel to it, which I think is interesting. It really feels like an old art film that you would have watched at school. I kind of like that vibe. I mean, obviously there's a lot of problems with Tarzan as a concept, but like I like that version.
Fair.
This is like a softcore porn. It's like softcore
I'm not
pornography.
surprised given the movies Bo Derek usually is in. So
Yeah, it's all the Bo Derek usuals, regulars involved in this film. It's
The
your
usual suspect.
the one suspect who inflicted Bo Derek upon us. No, it's bad. It's not good. So I didn't see. How was Inchon?
Inchon was very, 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 very fucking boring.
Wow, shocker! I had no idea this would be that boring. This movie doesn't look that good.
It is horrifically boring, and it's made by a cult on top of it.
Okay.
You don't know? Okay. Oh, I get to tell you the story
Yeah,
about
you
how
do.
Inchon
Tell me the
was
story
made.
about Inchon.
Oh, this is great. Okay, so there's this guy named
Laurence Olivier's in this.
Yes.
Oh,
There's this
God.
guy named Soyeon Moon, I think his name is, and he runs this unification movement, which is basically a cult. It's a Jesus cult, basically. So
I know this one. Oh
I know
my
this
god.
cult. Okay, wait.
And-
Okay,
and
I've heard
he
this story. I
basically-
didn't know the movie. This is the movie, though.
Yeah. He basically wanted to make a movie about the Battle of Inchon, about the Korean War, with kind of a religious slant to religious slant to it. And because like they had like this big financier on top of it, they managed to get the director of the first few Bond films to direct this one.
Oh my goodness.
And they got actors like Laurence Olivier and others to just to be a part of it. Laurence Olivier himself fully admitted he only did it for the money, which, you know what, king shit.
Yeah, you know what? Sure, okay, I'll accept it.
Yeah, no, it is a very bad. It is a very bad movie, and definitely one that I think deserved its Worst Picture honors. Quite frankly, I would. And here's the thing: this film is so hard to find that the only existing copy that you can watch is free on YouTube. It's a television recording.
Oh my goodness!
You can go watch this movie on YouTube right now for absolutely nothing. I don't recommend it, but it's there.
You have the option.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and someone mentioned that because of all the money and influence this movie had, they got a cameo from Toshiro Mifune. So
that is shocking.
Actually, I don't think it was a cameo. I think he was a minor character. So
I'm also seeing that Jay here is saying that the son of the member assassinated the former Prime Minister of Japan, Abe Shinzo. What is with this movie?
That was him.
It is,
oh my god!
The story around the movie is far more interesting than the actual movie.
What is with this movie?
It is
Oh
so
my
bizarre.
god!
However, it did have. Inchon did have one notable person who gave it some praise. And when I tell you who, it's going to make sense that he praised this.
Oh,
what if there's
Lord.
going to be some director who's famous for saying awful things? Am I close, or is it a
No.
Oh.
Ronald Reagan.
Of course it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan
Of course.
liked this movie.
I mean,
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That adds up.
It's like the Dove Foundation seal of approval. You just know it's going to be bad.
I mean, listen, Ronald Reagan was in a movie with a monkey once. That clearly means he has a knowledge of what good movies. I can't even finish that statement. I'm very sorry. I feel like that should be taken out. That should be taken out of context. That's one thing I said that should be taken out of context.
He's probably watching it in hell right now.
Certainly.
Probably, yeah.
But I'm going to skip around a little bit with the 80s, because apparently Annie was up for... Was the other contender against Inchon. The musical Annie.
There's actually one film from the 80s, that one Worst Picture, that I will defend, actually.
Ooh, okay, which one is it? I'll jump to that one.
Howard the Duck. I like Howard the Duck.
You know what? It's so off-kilter and so bizarre that let me get so I don't have to get censored here if I'm just doing Google searches. I'll just do IMDb searches so I don't get, censored for, accidentally finding that one shot from Howard the Duck. You know what it is.
I was about to say, you better get the black bars out.
I gotta be careful, because that actually could pop up. I'm not gonna... But
No. Howard the Duck was actually funny. I actually unironically laughed a lot during Howard the Duck. I
like Howard the Duck. It's fun. And especially with how I'm actually was just talking about this recently in a video I'm working on that Kyla, you actually looked at the script briefly. I think that superhero movies, especially because they've been so prevalent and there's so much of it, Howard the Duck stands out more in hindsight. You kind of come back to it going wow, this was before we knew what we were doing, and it shows. But I kind of like how it doesn't know what it's doing.
No, it's a blast. I think it's I had a lot of fun watching it. I honestly, I could not believe it was a tie with Under the Cherry Moon, which in itself was not that bad a movie, but was still worse than Howard the Duck. So.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, this was and Under the Cherry Moon. That's Prince's movie, right?
Yes, it was. That wasn't that bad either, if I'm being real. That one was actually that one wasn't good, but it wasn't insufferable either, and it had some moments I liked. So. Actually,
looking at all the contenders for 86, none of these movies are bad.
I was gonna say
they're all pretty solid. They're all decent, not great, but they're decent. Blue City, that's okay. Cobra, that's a decent action film with Stallone. Shanghai Surprise that's probably the weakest one, I think. But Sean Penn and Madonna, that was probably was nominated because the Razzies hate women. I feel like whenever there's a movie with a popular female actress, they always get nominated, even if the film themselves.
Look, this year they gave Megan Fox both Worst Actress and Worst Supporting Actress. I think it's not a far-fetched. It's not
Expendables 4.
Oh, I forgot that even came out.
Yeah, it's not that far-fetched to say they probably don't like women very much. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, looking at the films that came out 86, there's a lot of other contenders than Cobra, Howard the Duck, or any of these. For example, '86 saw the release, aside from masterpieces like Big Trouble in Little China and Critters and Short Circuit and Aliens and Blue. Okay, there's a lot of good movies too, but King Kong Lives came out '86.
I never saw that one.
It's not good. It's pretty bad. Maximum Overdrive, Stephen King's directorial debut.
No, I'll defend that one.
I love that film. I love that film. I love it. But you know they would vote for it. Like, you know they'd vote. Oh, Highlander came out, too.
Highlander.
I like Highlander.
Oh, okay.
I love Highlander.
Highlander's great. Top Gun came out. There's a lot of good movies. From Beyond, Castle in the Sky.
Okay, I'm gonna say Top Gun should have got. I'm one of the few weirdos who fucking despises Top Gun. So
really.
I'm one of the few who've never seen Top Gun,
Top
so
Gun's good. I like Top Gun.
You're not missing it. No, Top Gun was awful. I'm sorry. It's a tonal mess of a movie with a shockingly horrid depiction of a character getting PTSD, which I'm surprised no one talked about. Like that was something I was shocked by. Bad characters, mediocre acting, pretty cool soundtrack, all things considered, but mostly it's a bad movie, and I'm surprised that not only it got a sequel that I actually liked. So
listen, Jazzy, have you considered that nothing about Top Gun's plot matters to why Top Gun's so successful?
I get that, but even the gay stuff that I was promised was underwhelming as sin.
You mean you don't like seeing shirtless men playing volleyball to that song where they're hanging out with the boys? And no, Top Gun's pure vibes only. There's nothing else to Top Gun but the vibes.
Look. Even if it was as look. This probably wasn't going to appeal to me, as I am a gay trans femme, and obviously the sight of muscly men is not going to do it for me.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
But I usually dig, like, I kind of have a love for this niche of movie that it tries to be the most hetero thing ever, but becomes the gayest shit, like, unintentionally. I have a soft spot for the Fast and Furious movies because of this, like, if I'm being real.
100%. And honestly, the Fast and Furious 2, that's also valid too. No, I agree with you. But you know one film that was extremely gay and not nominated for a Razzie?
What?
Psycho 3.
Never saw it.
Psycho 3 was Anthony Perkins' directorial debut in the Psycho series.
Oh, jeez.
They just gave him the reins.
They did. I feel like I did see it, but I might have blocked it out of my memory.
Psycho 2 is pretty solid, but Psycho 3 is just
horrendously bad. I remember Psycho 2. I think I saw Psycho 3 and I just repressed it. I did.
Amazing.
Like I did Gods of Egypt.
Oh God, Gods of Egypt was bad. Oh, also at '86, The Golden Child. You ever see Golden Child?
Nope.
The Eddie Murphy Kung Fu movie?
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you got my attention.
This is Eddie Murphy trying to do like a Bruce Lee movie, essentially. But like a comedy at the same time. But so it's like an Eddie Murphy, like, in his like Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop era, doing like a martial arts Big Trouble in Little China Kung Fu movie.
Interesting.
It is fascinating. Like, it is a weird mix of what shouldn't work and doesn't work, but it kind of works and how unique it is. I think it's fun. I think it's a good movie, but it's weird. Anyway, back to the Razzies. Okay, I have a movie here I found I actually despise, and I think it's probably one of the worst films. One of the worst sequels, I think. Not in terms of the quality of the film itself, but what it represents in regards to the original film. And that's Rambo First Blood Part 2.
I actually liked look, so here's the thing. When we were doing this marathon, I realized I saw none of the Rambo films, and I needed to fix that before seeing First Blood Part 2. Yeah. And I had a Blu-ray of First Blood on my shelf for years, so I was like, okay, time to finally do this. Mm-hmm. And First Blood as a movie was nothing what I was expecting, and I mean that in the best possible way.
100%. First Blood's one of my favorite action films. It's incredible.
Right, it's a great movie and a great character study. Now, do I get why First Blood Part 2 is a bad sequel? Abso-fucking-lutely. Did I enjoy it as a dumb action movie anyway? Yes.
I get that. I get that. But like the level of downgrade, it like is where I have an issue. Like, it's not Highlander 2 bad, where it's like you feel like you're watching something that's completely alien in more ways than one to the original film.
Sometimes literally in the case of Highlander 2.
Oh, in Highlander 2 especially, it's alien. I love how they literally recut the film.
To remove the fact that they were aliens.
Yeah, just completely change it. Anyway, I don't like Rambo 2 because I think it's like the betrayal of the first film. I think the first Rambo is this... First Blood, I should say, is this masterpiece of anti-war cinema. And it really shows... Like, yeah, I'd say it does lean more towards the conservative side of anti-war, but, like, it's still really, like, hits hard, the messages of, like, how we don't actually protect our soldiers when they come back from war, how we allow PTSD to just get worse and worse and worse, how small-time police, or big-time police, will actually unnecessarily escalate a problem to the point that something can be solved without violence becomes violent. Like, the First Blood is, I think... And that last speech, that last speech is one of the most intense things I've ever seen in a movie. Where like
I cried.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
So here's the. I understand like the drop in quality is disappointing because just for reference, I'm going based on memory here. So when I reviewed these films on Letterboxd, I gave First Blood a perfect 10. Like I had no problems with it. I thought it was flawless. I think I gave part 2, like, I want to say a 6, like, which...
Yeah, that sounds fair. And again, my disappointment comes from someone who just loves that first film so much. Like, it was really formative because I saw it when I was, like... I think I saw it when... and by the way, if I start rambling, just tell me to shut up and I will. Like, I saw that when the war in Iraq was really, like, kicking off as a teenager. And I remember that really forcing me to... Because, you know, when you're a kid, you have this black and white view of war. You don't think of things in, like, grays when you're 12 or 13. But, like, Rambo, the First Blood really was, like, the first film to go, wow, we really don't take care of the people who come back from this. Like, this is horrible.
And I can see how that would hit too, especially during that time when it was like for you youngins out there, you don't understand how intense the like pro-US propaganda was back then. Like man, it was, you really had to be there because it was just intense. If you even said one problem about America, it could be even if you got your check in late from the mail, like the post office just didn't get your mail in on time. You would be a heretic. You couldn't say nothing.
Oh yeah, and the worst thing was, you know, I live right outside New York. You know, I live in New Jersey, so outside New York, the way to my grandparents, you know, we would drive there all the time. You would see the World Trade Center like on the horizon, and I remember like when 9/11 happened, my memory of like for a month afterwards is seeing like just a fog rising, like just a heavy smoke cloud where this was once something. I remember the emptiness so distinctly. So that's some trauma right there that I won't unpack today. We won't talk about movies, but like this is like some deep-seated trauma. And First Blood was the first film to help me kind of start unpacking that, like directly. Like there are other films I watched that meant a lot to me at the time too, but that was the first film that I think like that, and I'd say Full Metal Jacket for a different reason. Like were the first couple of films I saw where I started to address and deconstruct like how the news depicted war versus how people actually treated people who come back from war. And I thought that was so powerful. Yeah, I just think Rambo is like a fun movie, but it glorifies the war too much, I feel like it betrays the messages. I don't know. I could be biased though. I'm not sure.
Right. I get why people hate it, and I do understand to some extent why this may have won Worst Picture, because if we're judging it solely as a sequel to First Blood, yeah, it fails, absolutely. But if I'm judging it both as a sequel and as a Stallone action movie, I think it fares better. I'm not defending this film by any stretch. I'm just saying I enjoyed it. Like,
okay, actually, chat has given me a reason to like Rambo Part 2. Sorry, Kylie, you talk first. I'll say this afterwards.
Oh, well, go ahead, because I pulled up the list of like the nominees, and I see one on here that I am extremely mad about, and I will defend to my last breath. And I'm like,
85?
No, I scrolled down a bit.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna have to wait a minute because I saw one, and I'm like, how dare you?
That's valid. There's a few I'm upset by. But no, so chat has pointed out, thank you, Jay, that the director of Rambo 2, his son would go on to make Mandy.
Oh, neat.
One of the greatest Nicolas Cage films of all time.
I still need to watch it.
Jazzy, I will go to Texas and make you watch Mandy if I have to.
Okay.
And, oh, that's fair. Okay. Anyway, so what was the movie, Kylie, you're talking about?
All right, so we're gonna travel forward in time to 1992, and that year, one of the nominees was the iconic movie The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Okay. Let's defend this.
Whitney Houston.
All right, we're doing this. Let's do it. Okay, Bodyguard. Whitney Houston was nominated for Worst Actress for this movie.
How fucking dare you?
Right?
This was the year Shining Through one, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Shining Through won. The Bodyguard. Actually, I don't even think The Shining Through is the worst film nominated, because this is when Christopher Columbus: The Discovery came out.
Yeah,
exactly.
like I said, my personal pick for that year would have easily been Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, because Shining Through was a terrible movie. I really did not like it, but...
No, but there's a different level of, like, defending Christopher Columbus. And there were multiple Christopher Columbus films. There was also the one that Ridley Scott did that he never likes talking about for some strange reason. Where he depicts Columbus as a overlooked genius, and really it was his crewmates who were the bad ones. So how bad is Christopher Columbus really? Movie. Oh, I hate these Columbus movies that came out at this time, because it was like the anniversary of his discovery of America, so they had to make all these.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, that's when they all came out in '92, because it was like 500 years after.
Was that also the year that weird animated one with the fucking worm was also like released?
I think this is the one.
Oh, I remember that. I saw that once in summer camp.
I saw it too. No, this is a different one. Wait, how many Columbus films came out in one year? There was Christopher Columbus: Discovery, which stars, of all people, oh God, Marlon Brando, Tom Selleck,
No,
Benicio del Toro,
Ah!
and then there was 1492, Conquest of Paradise. Okay, let me bring these up. Okay, let me bring these posters up here. Okay, hang on. Let me bring it up on chat so you guys can see this. We got Christopher Columbus, The Discovery. With this is the poster. Just Tom Selleck and Marlon Brando. They're here. Then there was 1492, Conquest of Paradise, which was Ridley Scott's Christopher Columbus film. And then, and I'm not kidding here, there was the animated one with the worms, which was Christopher Columbus. And don't ask me how I remember this one. Like the Magical Journey, something like that.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Something like the Magical... Oh, it's not coming up here. Wow. Incredible Journey?
The Magic Voyage is what
Magic
it's called.
Voyage. There you go.
Because then one of them,
Here you go.
he was like really big in the 80s, voiced that worm. Or the caterpillar,
Feldman.
whatever it was.
Yeah, it was Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
Again, back to Friday the 13th. It comes back. It comes back to Friday the 13th every time. He did his terrible dance moves, and then he was a worm in the Columbus animated.
Excuse me. It was Crispin Glover who did terrible dance.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Corey Feldman
was
was just the kid who
was the child. Do not blame the child for that dance.
Wait, no, Corey Feldman. No, I'm sorry. No,
he does do terrible dance.
No, Corey Feldman was the. No, he wasn't. I'm sorry. He looks just like him, though.
Corey Feldman was the child who had the fucking monster effects and everything.
Oh, and Dom DeLuise was in this.
Yep, he was Columbus.
Yep, I remember that. He was in a whole bunch of animated stuff around that time.
Dude, I'll tell you, I felt like he was the voice of a whole generation of animated movies for a while. Dom DeLuise.
Yeah. So to get off of these Columbus movies, I do want to mention that the year before actually has 1991 actually is my favorite Razzie winner I've seen so far.
91 was a good year, because 91 had the best two Best Picture winners. Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk, I'm going to say, is actually a misunderstood masterpiece. Like,
Hudson Hawk is a cult classic, and I love it.
Hudson Hawk was so goddamn good. Like, me and my friend Ash, who I've been doing this marathon with, hi Ash, if you're still watching, we didn't really know what to expect with Hudson Hawk. We heard it was considered one of the better Razzie winners. What I didn't realize is that one of the better Razzie winners translated to a good movie, actually.
Mm-hmm. Hudson Hawk is solid.
It's like a live-action cartoon. Like, it's so over the top, it's so bizarre, and it's genuinely funny. Like, Bruce Willis is on his A game throughout this whole thing, and you have Richard E. Grant chewing the scenery in every scene he's in.
He always chews
love
scenery.
this movie.
Who else is in Hudson Hawk? I gotta check. Kyle, have you seen Hudson Hawk?
No, but I'm just amazed because one of the contenders with it that I have seen is Cool as Ice. You mean to tell me that Cool as Ice didn't win?
Cool as Ice.
But this did?
Actually,
Cool as Ice should have won.
Cool as Ice should have won, but let's be honest. Hudson Hawk was not the best film nominated for Worst Picture that year in '91.
Which
also,
one is?
Also, I might want to point out Danny Aiello was in this, which I find so wild. Andy McDowell. I forgot these guys were all in this. That's cool. No, this is the best film nominated for Worst Picture in '91, and I'm not going to take any second contenders in this one. It's Nothing But Trouble. Nothing But Trouble. You've never seen Nothing But Trouble? Okay.
Me neither.
Okay. Let me set the scene for this one. I'm gonna enjoy this. So you got Chevy Chase at the tail end of his big run of movies. This is when people started to realize Chevy Chase was annoying and awful, and they stopped liking his movies. So kind of fell down. He is married to Demi Moore, who's too good for him. Also, again, Hudson Hawk comparison because Bruce Willis. They're driving the car in New Jersey because Dan Aykroyd has an obsession with New Jersey. They get stopped by Officer John Candy for some dumb reason. And they get brought to the Justice of the Peace, who's played by Dan Aykroyd. And it just unfolds into this Beetlejuice-inspired monstrosity of body horror, weird trains carrying sausages, Dan Aykroyd's nose transforming into an organ that I don't think I could show uncensored, two gigantic babies, one of which is played by Dan Aykroyd because no one else would play the big baby.
I bet.
John Candy in drag trying to get Chevy Chase to marry him. Actually, no, technically it's the sister of one of the characters. There is a scene where a roller coaster plows into a giant set of chomping jaws. And oh yeah, the movie was directed by Dan Aykroyd. It is to date his only directing role. And he wrote the film too. In every scene he went to, his set guys would come to him and say, "Hey, this is a cool idea. We have a cool idea for something in the movie." Dan Aykroyd would go "Sure, put it in, please." People were apparently loved working for Dan Aykroyd because he was just "Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it."
He's a Ghostbuster.
Exactly.
He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. I mean, listen, Dan Aykroyd is my favorite brand of he's a little out of his mind. He's a little kooky, but I feel like he's kooky in a way that's a net positive for society as opposed to a Mel Gibson or someone like that who's just a net negative. I think Dan Aykroyd's personal brand of madness is what we all need in the world, from what I understand.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe he does something awful behind the scenes I don't know about, but as far as I know, he seems like a cool dude who's just a little nuts, and I love that. I just really love this movie got made, and it was a complete flop. It didn't make even a cent back, but it's so over budget and so ridiculous, and it gets that perfect brand of I'm not sure if this is supposed to be horrifying or really funny, and it kind of becomes both. I showed it to my spouse, and she refused to talk to me for a week after watching it. I'm kidding. But
so I was looking at you why did you waste my time with this nonsense?
She was just looking at me going you are out of your mind. This is the dumbest movie in the world. It's great.
Makes me wonder what would happen if what would happen if I show my partner Hudson Hawk, which, by the way, my partner's in the chat. Hi, honey.
Hi, Jesse's partner. But no, Hudson Hawk's fun. I feel like Hudson Hawk's accessible. I think that's why it won, but Nothing But Trouble lost, because I feel like Nothing But Trouble is so alienating. You don't know if what you're watching. Whereas Hudson Hawk is a little more. You get it. Like, I think that's more fun for a general audience than Nothing But Trouble is, but with the right audience, with the right, shall we say, green lenses, Nothing But Trouble is amazing.
I'm just still shocked that Cool as Ice did not win.
Yeah, that's the
considering
worst
that
one.
it was dated when it came out.
Yeah,
Look,
that's
I
actually
watched-
the worst one.
I watched Cool as Ice a few months ago with the riff tracks of it, and even then, I was really annoyed. The riff tracks folks were trying their best, but holy shit. It's like
And like it is so just like it's just so horrible
Bad.
watching like old Winkle like with his like weird fade, you know, trying to act cool with this girl with his posse of black men behind him, you know, trying to get street cred. It's just like, oh my god. By the way, for those who don't know, I'm black, so
Wait,
you know,
you're black?
it just
Who
I
told-
know, man,
What?
I know, it's a shock to everybody.
Real shock, right? There. No, and okay, listen. However, Kyla, we can agree this. Cool as Ice is the worst of these films. You're not going to get any peep out of me for that one. But I will say this: despite the fact that Vanilla Ice has obviously exploited black culture and all of that, he owes David Bowie and Freddie Mercury royalties for ripping off Under Pressure for his Cool as Ice song. Like that's not even like sampling. That's just him ripping off the music.
It is. It's a complete ripoff.
It's bad. I
So-
can't stand Vanilla Ice. I mean,
so there's
at all.
So there's two other films from the 90s that I actually like and will defend if you want to put me on the defense.
Go
either
for
of
it.
these.
Defend.
So the first of them is Showgirls.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Showgirls is
Like,
great.
and I was gonna say, I was curious if y'all were going to agree. So I don't need to defend y'all.
No,
y'all
I
get
love
it. I don't need to-
Showgirls.
Oh,
Showgirls is
yeah.
amazing. Actually, I might be
Showgirls was
demonetized
outstanding.
for even showing that imagery, so I was going to show them.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could just skip that. We could just agree we like Showgirls. But the other one that I like from the '90s is Wild Wild West. I love Wild Wild West. I think
love
it's
Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it's got a
Fun.
real. I appreciate it now, and although I feel like the word has been diluted nowadays, I really do think Wild Wild West is camp. Like that's
Agreed.
like
I
it's,
think both
it's-
that and Showgirls are camp, but for different reasons, I think.
Look,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everyone in the cast with Wild Wild West knew what they were like. They knew exactly what kind of movie they were in. They were playing it very much like a comedy and having a blast. Like especially Kenneth Branagh, who, much like Richard E. Grant in Hudson Hawk,
he's
was
great.
devouring the scenery.
But Kevin Kline, too, honestly.
yeah. But once again, to clarify, I am black. I don't know who wrote this man's insults to Will Smith, but they hit a lot of them. I was laughing. I was like, damn. Who came up with
No,
this?
no,
Oh,
I
man.
love,
The whole
I
movie's
love
so
this.
funny.
I love the scene. I love that scene where they're just making snide remarks at each other because it's just an ableist and a racist arguing with each other.
Even though you are as dark as the night, I was like, damn.
Like, and Will
Such
Smith
a
says
good
something
movie.
along the lines of, it's like, you
So
know,
dumb.
oh, when a man comes back from the dead, I see that as an occasion to stand up.
Oh, man, it's been ages, but I remember, for some reason, and this might be, I know, Kyla, I know for a fact you have strong feelings about this movie. For some reason, I always associate Wild Wild West with The Mummy in my head. Because
Yeah.
they were
I
marketed
can
around the
see it.
same time. They came out, like, I think within a year of each other, maybe. And, like, there's a weird, and more bizarrely enough than Men in Black, which you'd think would be the logical comparison because of Will Smith. I think that, but like, I do think that The Mummy's obviously a good movie. Whereas
Yeah.
this is just a bad good movie, but
Well, I see what you're talking about because they're both kind of like a historical revision, you know, because they're both a play on, like, The Mummy's a play on those adventure movies and specifically about the Egyptian craze that was happening around the time that the movie is set. And, you know, Wild Wild West plays off of the Americana mythos of, other than being based off the TV show, which played off of the Americana mythos of, the Wild West and cowboys and all this. You know, I definitely see it. And I think that's why I like it, because it knows what it is. It doesn't pretend. And it just goes all out. Like, I will say, though, as someone who does have a little bit of an issue with spiders, I don't know what it is with this director and spiders. Those of you, yeah, John Peters, like, I know there's a very famous like clip from Kevin Smith's podcast where he talks about like a script he was writing with that guy.
Superman
he kept
Lives.
bringing up, yeah, Superman Lives, and he kept bringing up like the spider motif, and he's like, "What's with this?"
Minor correction: John Peters wasn't the director; he was the producer. Barry Sonnenfeld was the director.
Barry
There we go,
Sonnenfeld, that's it.
Yeah, John Peters was, but he was like, actually, John Peters became famous because he was a hairdresser who helped produce one of the remakes of, one of the many remakes of, I'm drawing a blank on its name, with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper a few years back.
Star is Born.
Star is Born. He did like one of the Barbara Streisand, Star is Born. And then he did the most recent one as well, too, I think. But still, great. It's a nutty guy. But like I do, and I think like also the thing is like, while The Mummy is more fantasy, this is more steampunk inspired, which makes this one of the few steampunk movies to get like a big budget. And I kind of love that. And I also have to say something really goofy about like in general like adventure films from the day. A lot of these adventure films, there was like this sense of fun to them that a lot of modern action films just don't have.
They don't.
Like they
It's
don't
very bad.
Yeah, like they just don't have fun anymore. Like there's like this goofiness, like this levity to the film where like at no point is this film realistic or believable. You never buy into like this idea that this can actually happen, but they just follow a rule of cool. I think Zorro also did that too. I think there's a few of those late 90s, early 2000s like adventure films I really dig for that reason. They just have unabashed just nonsense vibes.
Yeah, I feel like we lose rule of cool nowadays because everyone on the internet is quick to point out how illogical it is. But Kyla, you were about to say?
Oh, I was going to say, too, I feel like we've lost the really charismatic leads. Because either now they're either really stoic or they're just like the quiet, silent type. Like, I think as much as I love John Wick, I kind of want to blame John Wick a little bit because now everybody has to be like this super silent, like deadly badass, and it's like, but I want the fun people to come back, crack a joke, something, anything, please.
I would say John Wick's more of a symptom of the problem than the cause itself, because you saw this back with like Vin Diesel, of course, but like his Jason Statham's early films too. You'd see a bit of that as well.
Okay, yeah, Jason Statham. Because I was gonna say with Vin Diesel, I remember back in the day when he did the XXX movies before he did like the latest one, which I don't know if that got nominated for a Razzie. It needed to. I don't know what the last one that happened where he came back.
When was that? I'm going to scroll ahead and look. I don't think it was, unfortunately. No,
yeah, it needed to be.
It wasn't actually nominated. That's funny.
Yeah, they missed that one because boy, that was some. It's literally the gif of "Hello, fellow kids" with the skateboard and everything.
Completely that. Oh man, I remember watching it. It was bad. Okay, so here's a question for you. Yeah, I'm gonna present a movie. I don't know if you're gonna like this one that I'm gonna defend, and I know, Jazzy, personally.
I have a feeling. Do it, bitch.
Let's do this. Let's do this. This movie, this artistic achievement, Freddy Got Fingered, Tom Green's ode to anti-art, purely the antithesis of cinema, deliberately trolling an entire audience by making a massive budget for his ridiculous bad film. But it's so funny. What?
Excuse me, I need to step out here just a second.
Oh, okay, okay, Jazzy, have fun. This masterpiece of cinema.
Don't worry.
I will say, just if any of y'all are interested, I watch a podcast called Double Toasted. They did that movie review.
You right,
Look. Here's the thing about Freddy Got Fingered. It was clearly intentionally made to be a bad movie. Clearly Tom Green wanted to win the Razzie, and you know what? follow your dreams and all that. I have respect for him for that, because he succeeded. This deserved Worst Picture 100%. I am not going to argue about it.
Make me proud, son.
But,
It was.
But
You'll be so proud of me, Dad.
I want to relay my experience, since this was just yesterday, watching Freddy Got Fingered, because it's in my head.
You were messaging me the moments of insanity as your mind broke watching this clear artistic achievement.
Yeah, and
Criterion Collection quality here.
And like the scene, I've seen the scene that broke me, that made me laugh like a maniac, turned me into the goddamn Joker being quoted. It's the bit where he's playing the piano.
Oh my god!
Oh, the sausage!
And singing, "Daddy, would you like some sausage?" And that made me, and that was such a mid joke, but because everything around it was so cringe and horrible and torture and gross, I was laughing like a maniac of it. I think this film tortured me.
It is. This film is torture. It's amazing. I'd like to read an excerpt of a review written by the late great Roger Ebert about Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh, my hometown hero.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember this review. I remember this review.
I'm going to read excerpts, not read the whole thing. This movie doesn't scrape the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't below the bottom of the barrel. This movie does not deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence with barrels. Gonna skip ahead here again. The day may come when Freddy Got Fingered is seen as a milestone of neo-surrealism. The day may never come when it is seen as funny.
You know what? He's correct. That is 100% on the... Because here's the thing. So, it was a horrible experience, and I hated most of it. But the thing is, here's the thing. I was so fascinated watching it. I couldn't look away. It was a car crash that I could not take my eyes away from.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
No, it's anything but beautiful. It's horrific, and I can't believe I watched it, but I also can't believe after it was done, I honestly said to myself, you know what? There were still movies in this marathon that were way, way worse. So,
exactly.
And I'm not, and
that's the point.
And I couldn't even give it a score, and when it came to the ranking list I'm doing, I just put it in the middle because I didn't know what else to do. This movie defies a review. It defies ranking. It defies comparing it to other movies. It's kind of a gem in a weird way.
It is a gem, you're right.
But it's a gem I never want to unearth ever again.
It's like finding a pearl stone in the bottom of your sewer. Sorry, cut you off there.
This is what the Dadaists dreamed of when they were sitting there making their art. They were like, one day someone will come along and destroy the establishment.
The Dadaists ain't got shit on this movie. This is a masterpiece of cinema. Just the beautiful scene where you composite the beauty of childbirth, something that is unique and amazing, with Tom Green's acid-driven madness.
Nope.
Just that moment alone is just so horrible and so vile.
Stop the ride!
It becomes beauty in its own sense.
Cease!
And the running gag of just torturing a small child in continually horrible ways.
No! Quote. Someone's gonna clip that.
The scene where we see the beauty of Tom Green telling his daddy, "Look, Dad, I'm a farmer." As he...
No, you gotta know the scene where... So, I was mentioning what Jazzy was yelling in the corner. That I saw this... I watched part of it. I have not finished the movie. I watched part of it because a podcast called Double Toasted. They do a thing called the Bad Movie Roast, and they watched this. And one of the guys actually remembers, because he's been around for a while, like he used to do public access TV. He remembers interviewing Tom Green for this movie and how weird he was acting during that. And he was mad about that. He remembers going to the screener and people leaving the theater. I was so mad about it. But I have to say, the things that got me was the scene with when he was in the shower with the soap on a rope, talking about I found treasure, and
that made me laugh.
He threw his ass out. It's like, just broke the toilet. And then the second one was, and I don't know if it's because the guys were laughing at it, I started laughing, but there's like a transition scene where it's the ending where it won't end, and it's like for some reason the Tom Green and the dad end up like getting kidnapped or something. I don't know, but they make it back to America, and there's just a shot of Tom Green getting in the car, and they pause it, and there's the American flag.
I do want to bring up another moment in that.
It's so bizarre.
I do want to bring up another moment in that scene that made me laugh. There was someone holding up a sign that said, "When the fuck will this movie end?" And
Hold it in.
But one of the consistent aspects I did like about this movie actually was the love interest character.
Yeah, a woman who owns her sexuality. Very intensely.
Right. You think they're gonna make jokes at her because she's in a wheelchair, but she's actually this very active character who has her own dreams and everything. And despite the fact that Tom Green wants this genuine, sweet, wholesome romance with her, she just wants to fuck specifically. She wants him to fucking hit her paralyzed legs with a stick so she can feel something, which is so weird. But I got to admit, I kind of dig that she owns her own kink. So you know what?
There you go. I respect that wholly. I think it's great. I think it's great. And here's the thing also. I find it so fascinating how this movie, despite you guys at first saying, hey, this is bad, I hate this, you're both agreeing that there are a lot of good qualities of this insane, ridiculous movie.
There are.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's so wonderful.
Like I said, it felt like torture because even like it got to the point where the jokes that are kind of mid on their own were making me laugh like a maniac. So
I think Freddy Got Fingered is what the Cenobites do to you in the Hellraiser universe. They torture you until you start to enjoy it. Freddy Got Fingered is what it looks like when you finally become a Cenobite. That's what I'm saying.
There was a point where I was texting my roommate in the other room as I was watching this. And I just randomly, without thinking, just typed to her in all caps, "This movie is a violation of the Geneva Convention."
Yeah, that sounds accurate. But it's so much fun. Anyway, I think I've harped on this movie enough. I think we need to talk about real art. Actually, so a couple movies that were nominated this year that lost to Freddy Got Fingered. Driven, which I have not seen. It's another Stallone movie. Glitter, starring Mariah Carey, which is, I think, worse, objectively, than
Never
Freddy Got
seen
Fingered.
either.
The thing is, what's worse? And Kyle, you've seen this, though.
I have. So, because I'm looking at the list, and I will say that Glitter it wants to be, the typical rags to riches story of a girl who, is aspiring to be a singer and her, like, producer boyfriend and all this other stuff. But it's so boring to me. Like, it's just so... you're gonna have to be paid by the numbers in order to make a story like this, right? There's no way around it. But the least you could do is jazz it up a bit. And the fact that it's Mariah Carey, and you would think that maybe she would be a little bit more iconic with it, like that's kind of why I love The Bodyguard, because even with Whitney Houston, you think she's just there to be a voice, but she actually like gives into the role. Mariah Carey's just like, yes, give us nothing, yes, give us tired, give us over it, yes.
That's the problem with that movie. It's so dull. I think it's worse for a film to be dull than to be like insane, as we see here.
I think that's the worst sin, is it could be like, you're so dull you're forgettable, because I forget most of Glitter. Like, it just goes out of my head. Meanwhile, something like Freddy Got Fingered is so outrageously bad and crazy and just out of this world that even though I can say, oh yeah, it was bad, but I remember every minute of what I saw.
That's fair. But I do still think Freddy Got Fingered earned its Worst Picture Razzie, but I mean that as a compliment because it was literally made to. Like,
exactly. And I will say this too: the other contender for Worst Picture, I don't know about the Graceland movie, never saw that, but Pearl Harbor was also on the list, which is unforgettably bad. That's bad, but like in a way that you don't forget. Like you never forget it.
Shit, I might have to reconsider if I really think Freddy Got Fingered earned it, because I forgot that Pearl Harbor also had a nomination. Pearl Harbor.
I don't know about,
Yeah.
either of you,
Harbor.
but you had the friend who had like the double box set of Titanic next to the double box set of Pearl Harbor, right? Like you had that.
I
friend?
was that friend.
Oh, you were
And
that friend.
I was that friend because I collected I liked collecting VHS tapes at the time. A lot of them are unfortunately lost, but you had to, if you're collecting VHS tapes, you had to get the Titanic one. That one's legendary.
And you had to get Pearl Harbor next to it because you have to complete the set.
Right. And the thing about Pearl Harbor I really hate as a movie is that it kind of so Pearl Harbor desperately wants to be Titanic, and I saw Titanic for the first time last year, and it kind of really made me fully understand the problem with Pearl Harbor. So
yeah, once you see Titanic, there's no comparison. And Pearl Harbor is also really jingoistic too, which is really weird.
Right. The thing about Titanic that makes it work is that yes, you are focusing on fictional characters mostly, but they are constantly part of a real world event. They are always on the Titanic for pretty much the entire movie, and they are interacting with people who were actually there, like these fictionalized versions of real life people. And so even though you're focusing on fictional characters, there's still an investment in the tragedy, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
they're directly involved.
With Pearl Harbor, you don't really get that. Like, yes, these are fictional characters that you put into the Pearl Harbor event, but they feel so disconnected from everything that it's like, why are we focusing on these guys?
Right.
Understandable. I get that. And the other problem too with Pearl Harbor is that it's also just really, really boring. Like,
it is.
It's one thing if like it's a bad historical story, but this is a bad historical story that also lacks a compelling set of characters. I don't always do a channel Pearl Harbor. I think we all agree it's awful. Kyle,
yeah,
you've seen it too, right, Kyle?
Yeah, but I was going to say I mainly remember it for the fact that it was boring, and I remember seeing, I can't remember where now, but it was like, one thing I want to say too is that at least with the Titanic, it had been so long and so, that you could kind of like play around with the history a little bit. You can make you can combine like 5 different people who are working on the ship into one character. You could do that kind of stuff, right? But with Pearl Harbor, we still got people who were there, like at the event. We still got people who, knew somebody who was there. You can't be taking liberties with that. And I remember reading an article about like all the historical inaccuracies in the movie. And
Michael Shannon was in this movie?
Yeah, I remember that.
Sorry,
you can't forget his face. No, but like that's pretty much it, is that I feel that too with them trying to like play around with the historical accurateness of an event that's not that far removed from history. It causes like once you start pulling at that thread, because that happened to me with like the first Transformer movie I ever saw in high school, which was A Date. And it was the one with Marky Mark. I can't remember the name.
Fourth one? Age of
Extinction. Yeah. Yes. So I remember in the very beginning, they were in like an abandoned theater trying to find something, and there was Optimus Prime in his truck form. And I remember looking at the theater, and I'm like, wait a minute, how did he get in here? Because there's no hole in the ceiling. There's nothing smashed. And once that logic hit, I could not get back into the movie for nothing. I started nitpicking everything. That was it. And it got on my nerves. So I could see, like especially that being a caveat for Pearl Harbor specifically. Also, on a random note, for my project with the... so I'm planning on doing a big Elvis movie project thing, and when I looked at biopics, for some reason 3,000 Miles to Graceland was listed as one, and I'm like, it is not. But I have a feeling now I want to watch it because it was nominated for a Razzie. I'm like,
I kind of skipped over that one. Yeah, I don't know anything about this movie, 3,000 Miles from Graceland. I'm gonna look this up. Miles to Graceland. I actually know nothing about this film, so my bias is probably showing here.
I don't either, but Kevin
Costner and Kurt Russell are in this.
Christian Slater?
Courtney Cox.
Oh,
Jeez.
shoot.
Kevin Pollak,
Okay.
David Arquette, John Lovitz,
Oh,
Thomas Hayden
no.
Church, Ice-T's in this.
Ice-T.
What is this movie?
Oh, okay.
What-
Now I have to watch it on
what
principle.
Even... Okay, it was an ingenious enough plan. Robbed the Riviera Casino's count room during an Elvis impersonator convention. Oh, that actually... Okay, I'm sold. I gotta see this movie now.
Okay,
The
I'll watch
Elvis
it.
impersonator convention heist with Kurt Russell, Kevin
not-
Costner.
They're one of these dudes like Elvis. Now, they're one of them. They all gonna lose.
Like, every single actor is just another how did you get here kind of role.
Who do you owe money to?
All of them. And not just like one or two, but like these are all... Like, Kevin Pollak was in Casino. Like, Thomas Hayden Church
Oh.
was in George of the Jungle at this time. You know, high-level art. And of course, Courtney Cox and David Arquette, they were both screaming their way through the box office right the year before, so...
Hey.
Shit.
All right, but I do have to bring up another movie that I think is essential.
Okay.
That I think we all have to discuss because it's so important. The most iconic. One of the few movies where someone accepted their Razzie in person.
Oh, I know this.
Catwoman.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
it, unfortunately. I have not seen it. I've
Oh.
seen bits and pieces, but I haven't seen the movie in full.
Oh,
Like, we're
Jazzy,
still-
you're in for a bad
Oh,
time.
it's
I'm aware.
so. Wait, I will defend Catwoman.
I will too, but it's
I will-
not good.
Yeah, it's not, but it's so like. First of all, you know you're in for a wild ride when the director's name pops up and it's just one word, Pitoff.
Oh,
Like
God,
Prince.
I forgot about that.
Like, yeah, you know that's like just you're gonna be in for some real direction swinging, and when like
goodness.
the opening credits show like the history of different Catwomen through time, like
Including
you know,
the one
oh,
you want to see, Michelle Pfeiffer.
right,
Yeah. That's one
But-
thing I know about that. I know there's a photo cameo of Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and that Halle Berry sniffs catnip at one point. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
Did you
Oh,
know
you did-
Oh, you don't even know half of it. It's great.
yeah, with her chowing down on like sushi, like scraping tuna cans up in her balcony.
It's so great. It's and then they have what's her name who was also in Crud. It's gonna drive me crazy from Family Guy. She's
Oh, Alex Bornstein?
Yeah, Peter.
Peter.
Alex Bornstein's one of my favorite actresses because I always see her or hear her in a role, and she always makes me laugh my ass off. But I never recognize her, and I'm like, oh my god, who is that? And then I see the credits, and I'm like, of course it's Alex Bornstein.
Well,
God damn it.
Catwoman has her too, so we got that going for
It's-
her.
And Sharon Stone is the bad guy, along with the Merovingian from The Matrix.
I always
Just-
forget he's in this. It's so
Yeah, I don't, because The Matrix was the first movie I saw him in.
Oh, my
I was like,
goodness.
wait a minute.
Also, what is it with these like mid-2000s superhero films and like a sports scene? Because Daredevil did it also, and then Catwoman does it with like the basketball scene.
True.
And like
Very
in,
true.
In Daredevil, it's
And
like the fight in the playground.
Oh, and this movie, I could just, oh my god, like the editing. The editing is so fast-paced.
Chaotic.
Like,
Pure chaos.
chaotic. Yes, that's a great way to put it, chaotic. And like, I don't know if it's because of Halle Berry not being too skilled with the whip or whatever, but like when she has to use it, the editing is just like, whoo, 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 whoo. It just cut. It's like, oh my god, what happened? Are you trying to confuse me because she doesn't know how to use this whip correctly?
I think,
Mm.
and I think the thing that's kind of weird for me looking at this movie purely just as someone who hasn't seen it in full yet is it's weird to me that you're doing a Catwoman movie, but the only thing that you took from the source material is that there is a character named Catwoman. Like,
has
That
more-
is exactly it.
Yep, that's only all it is. And what's really strange is that it's clearly this was supposed to be a spin-off of Batman Returns. Like it's very clear that at some point, like way in an earlier draft, this was a Batman Returns film, because there's plot points from Batman Returns that they try to tie in with that. Aside from Michelle Pfeiffer, like even Catwoman's origin, it's Michelle
Yeah.
Pfeiffer's Catwoman's origin. It's the same origin, so it's clearly trying
Except-
to echo, but
Yeah, except stupider.
yeah, except bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Bad. That's the best way of putting it. And my favorite also is how they have they CG Halle Berry's entire body, but not like when she's moving. She's just walking towards the camera,
Yeah.
and it's all CG, and you can
Oh,
tell.
I'm in for a treat, ain't I?
And they hone in on her abdomen. I remember this distinctly, and it's glistening, but it looks glistening the way that it's like the troll from Harry Potter, where you can tell it's obviously not a real person, and you're like, why didn't Halle Berry just walk? This isn't in a complex situation. She's not moving. She's just walking. She's just walking from point A to point B. Why did you?
She charged $1 million per step.
You know what? She ate well.
She
in this
needed
role.
to. I will say this too. This movie has the best use of a dummy that you may ever see before we started using CGI for everything, including walk cycles.
Yeah.
This movie has the best use of a dummy, and you will know it when you see it.
Also, I will say this.
I'll look forward, Kyla. I will look forward to it, and then when I see it, if you get a random message on Twitter from me yelling, "God damn it!" That's why.
Oh,
Excited
I
for
look
that.
forward to it.
But also, it's not even the worst movie that came out that year, which is the craziest thing.
What else came out in
So
2004?
I'm going to save one particular film for last, because it's obviously what should have won for the Razzies. So the other nominees in 2004, aside from Catwoman, are Alexander, which is the biopic about Alexander with with Oliver Stone and Colin Farrell. Surviving Christmas, which is the weird Ben Affleck and James Gandolfini.
I've heard of that one. That one looks awful.
Yeah, as a New Jersey, and I'm obligated to say that it's good because James Gandolfini, but I digress.
I mean, fair.
It's half people I knew growing up knew James Gandolfini on a first name basis. It's just New Jersey. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Apparently, he was a really wonderful person. I never met him, but I've heard he was great. White Chicks, which I feel is probably the most entertaining of the films here. Not good, but it's better than Surviving Christmas and Alexander and Catwoman. And the worst film on this list, truly the worst film, which I will not attempt defending at all, is Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's the
No.
worst one.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is the worst one.
No.
John Voight's turn as a villain. This is the fourth John Voight film, by the way, that has been on this list we've talked about so far. I haven't mentioned this, but John Voight's all over the Razzies, too.
I was
You
gonna
know what?
say
He deserves it. Fuck him.
Yeah, he deserves a lot more Razzies. He deserves to have more Razzie nominations than Stallone, I'll put it that way. Okay, another movie here that I think needs to be discussed because... And I don't know if it's good. In fact, I know it's not. Actually, most of the films recently have not been that good, but I do feel the need to defend this year. Because the movie this year that came out, it won the Razzies, really swept the Razzies, really. The masterpiece of cinema known as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
It looks. I haven't seen it. Looks fucking awful. I am not. Here's the thing about this year's Razzies, though, that really bugs me. You chose a bunch of mediocre movies that not many people probably know of, or didn't think much of, and then you put Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. What do you think was gonna win? By the way, I think that poster's AI art. Holy shit! Seriously.
Oh god, it really is. This is really ugly AI art too. This is the official poster. Oh, it's terrible.
My God.
Oh, it's ugly.
Yeah, I knew they used AI art for the sequels poster as well. Good God, these films are so creatively bankrupt.
I like this. I like this one more. Okay, so a few films though that were nominated, I think, are much better. Exorcist the Believer, I think, is a much better film than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Very okay. Expendables 4, very okay. The Meg 2, The Trench, had some good bits. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, not as bad as everyone says it was. I don't think that
I
was.
was gonna say,
why is that there?
Yeah,
I haven't seen Fury. I haven't seen Fury of the Gods, but I heard it was at worst it was just kind of a dud, and at best it was okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's fun. I think people really were going on the anti-superhero train this year because all the films that came out were at best all right, except for The Flash. which was not
I'm gonna
nominated.
say, if you wanted a DC film to nominate from this year, The Flash was a gimme.
Easy.
Right.
Like if you look at the superhero output, you have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was just bland, and I didn't like it too much, but it was okay enough while watching. Ugly CG, ugly compositing, and some really dumb choices creatively, but it's not the end of the world. It's a weak Marvel film, not the worst. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, an okay sequel to a much. I think the first Shazam's incredible. I think this one was not that good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't look very good, and I loved the first Shazam.
Shazam's incredible. There's no comparison. Like there's a steep drop in quality, but it's still tonally similar, but it lacks the heart. It's all the goofy bits, but not the emotional bits that really sank in with the first one.
Okay.
Right, the thing that makes what made Shazam work for people.
100% agree. Yeah, it's just whatever.
No, it was the goofs. It was
Yeah,
the
gags,
laughs.
exactly.
Yeah.
and I could do without any more Zachary Levi in like a movie for a while, because he was not. That's his name, right? Zachary Levi in Shazam.
Levi.
I could do without him for a while. He was not good in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Everyone else was cool, but you had Marvel's other two outputs, which were Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I think is incredible, and The Marvels, which is a lot of fun. It's not the best movie of all time, but it's a lot of fun consistently. And Aquaman 2, which I was surprised to say I liked. Like, it's dumb, but I enjoyed every second of it. So you choose, but not The Flash? You ignore The Flash?
I'm gonna send a picture that I took when I went to go see The Flash, and I think it sums up the experience nicely.
Okay. You don't want me to share this one?
You can share it if you want. This is from my Twitter, so.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna just
Already
copy
published.
this. I'm just gonna. Okay, let me open in browser here. Here we go.
The 1,000-yard stare.
It is now on
Like,
stream.
you can tell I was not up for this movie. I didn't do my hair. I was just like,
I moved your face, Kyle, for a second so I can see.
This was an obligation movie, clearly.
The look of pain in your eyes is...
Because my friend was over, and she wanted to see it out of curiosity, so...
The look of sheer horror in your eyes is going to make me laugh tonight. It's such pain.
It's just...
Like I said, you can tell I didn't give a shit. My hair looks awful in this picture.
Love it. Love it. That's pain that's pain right there. But no, none of the films deserve to win this year. This is like the weakest film. I'm sorry, Winnie the Pooh. It's just so underwhelming and lame.
Like I said, you chose a bunch of mediocre at best films, and then put Blood and Honey in there. Like, that was the obvious winner. It's like, that's not fun, you know? That's just lazy.
Yeah, like it feels like an easy shot at a movie, and I wouldn't even say it's the worst film of the year. And I will add this: Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was an inexpensive film.
I bet.
Yeah. This was thousands. This was like less than $1 million at first, and it ballooned into its budget ballooned at the very end when they released their fake trailer and people started to invest in the film, and hype got up for it. That's when they got to spend some money on the effects at the end. But that's like late money in the game. Like, they couldn't afford new costumes because they started with nothing. Like, it's a cheap knockoff, sure, but they still have some cool kills here and there. It's definitely a weak film, but...
Someone was just sitting by a clock, waiting for midnight for the copyright to get up. And they wrote that script in an hour and said, I got it. And that was it. The Tyler Perry method of writing.
And I'm not going to lie. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if we're talking about movies that I think should have won Worst Picture, that is probably, like, in terms of what I've seen, I haven't seen Blood and Honey, but in terms of what I saw from last year, my worst film was probably, and this might shock people because this was actually a decently reviewed film, I'm going to say Gran Turismo was the worst film I saw last year.
Really?
I thought it was bad. Like, I hated every minute of it. I hated, like, the fact that this was such a vanity project. The fact that they used a real-life death that didn't even happen during the events that this movie is portraying as a means to motivate the main character, which is disgusting. A lot of it came off as incel fantasy. A lot of this movie came off as incel fantasy to me. I hated this fucking movie so much, but fun fact, I submitted a shot from it to the Twitter page, One Less Than Perfect Shot, and got featured. So that's neat. At least I got that.
That's a good point. I would actually say a couple different contenders. I'd say for worst film aside from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I think there's at least 3. Rebel Moon.
I haven't seen it.
I think is one of the most hilariously bad sci-fi films I've seen in a very long time. I know it's a recut. I know it's like a 7-hour cut of the film because Zack Snyder always has his 7-hour cuts. I know it's an abridged film, but if just release the full version, like why?
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't watch Rebel Moon because I'm curious about it, but I'm just gonna wait till the director's cut comes out because why are we? And apparently Zach wanted a botched cut to come out first, and it's like Zach, just release your
bet
because
he needs to get more hype around it so people can just start demanding for a cut.
People can start defending a really shitty movie before the full one comes out, and it's like I'm just. Like, Zach, this was fucking understandable when you were under a studio that was probably forcing you to do this, but Netflix wasn't forcing you. Like,
yeah, no, just go all out. Have fun with it, you know? Like, you have they're gonna just toss money your way. And I love how it feels like weird Warhammer 40K mixed with Seven Samurai stuff, mixed with Star Wars.
Right, and the thing is, I'm kind of interested in seeing it still. Like, even though I heard, that the first cut was bad, I'm still interested in seeing the second cut just because Zack Snyder movies are kind of a guilty pleasure for me. One of my favorite guilty pleasure movies is Sucker Punch. I love that movie.
That's fair.
You know,
it's funny
enough, I actually just saw like it got popped up on my recommended feed, an essay about the tragic missed potential of Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Because it's just, but sorry, it's just funny that you mentioned it.
No, I'm with you there.
I'll tell you that Sucker Punch was actually a lot of fun. Like I liked a lot of the ideas it was conveying, and I think like a lot of it was oddly ahead of its time. Like, I'm not gonna say Zack Snyder's a misunderstood genius. Fuck no. I just think I just kind of vibed with what the story of the movie was trying to tell. Even though you could definitely argue it didn't tell it amazingly, I thought it told it decently. So
yeah, and I'll say this too. Rebel Moon, the first part, got me interested enough to watch part 2. Like, I want to see the next one. So even though I think it was really dumb and didn't accomplish what it was trying to accomplish, I still want to see what comes next. So that's something that not a lot of filmmakers can do to make you want to see more after it's done. So I will give him that.
I'm curious. Are you going to be watching the Snyder cut?
Maybe I will.
Like I said, I'm just gonna wait for the full cut and see it, and then judge it for myself because it might be fun. I don't know.
Another film I'd say is also contended for worst, that I think is worse than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, is The Sound of Freedom.
I didn't see that movie, but I've heard enough about it to say you're probably right.
Yeah, same.
Like, and even the film itself isn't what it is. It's what it's lying about that I think is more. Like, it didn't surprise anyone that the moment this film about protecting children came out, that everyone involved in the film were either defending or actually partaking in child trafficking. Like, it's not shocking. Like, it's truly heinous, and the film itself, I think, is just, patriotism, like, smut, essentially. I don't like it.
Right, it's
the film's quality is secondary to the fact it's misrepresenting this real organization has done some real harm, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right, and it's also just this movie that film bros use as they use as a defense against people like who don't like films they like, because if like I saw a lot of bits where it's like people will say, oh, I didn't like The Sound of Freedom, and then immediately these film bros who are sucking it off will go, oh, so you support you support pedophilia or whatever, and it's like, no, shut up.
You can dislike a film and not have to. I don't know, it's just ridiculous. But the actual film I'd say is the worst film is different. It's neither of those two films. I got them out of the way. I was tricking you because the actual worst film is this hot trash. This is the worst film of the year. Ghosted. Starring Chris Evans and Ana de Armas.
I never even heard of this
that.
one.
But I don't know what it's about, but I've heard about it because I was being supplied with thirsty Chris Evans gifts by people on Tumblr.
Look, if you're thirsty for Chris Evans and you're thirsty for Ana de Armas, and you really want to see them have no emotion in a movie and be like kind of just indifferent to the people around them and just look uncomfortable being filmed, this is the movie for you. It's so bad. It's.
I'm looking at this poster because the stream finally caught up, and this might be the worst poster for a movie I've seen in a while. Like,
are we sure this isn't AI generated?
No, this is just what we call two people who were paid to be here, photoshopped together because they didn't take the photo probably together.
This conveys nothing to me about what the movie is about other than, yep, these two actors are certainly in it.
I'm going to read the official summary.
Oh, please.
Cole
Please
falls head over heels for the enigmatic Sadie, but then makes the shocking discovery that she's a secret agent. Before they can decide on a second date, Cole and Sadie are swept away on an international adventure to save the world. Sound exciting, fellas?
Pardonnez-moi?
Exactly. There's
Boy,
nothing to
that
it.
sure sounds like a film, a motion picture.
Among the actors in this film are Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Adrian Brody, Tate Donovan, Amy Sedaris, Lizzie Broadway, Mustafa Sakir, Anthony Mackie's in this movie, John Cho, and Sebastian Stan as God.
Ryan Reynolds?
Well, I know
Ryan Reynolds.
Well, I know how
Tim
Sebastian and Anthony Mackie got in there because Chris Evans said, "Hey, y'all need some help funding that pool. Come do this movie."
Basically,
whenever I see
Deadpool in here, too.
Whenever I see Amy Sedaris in anything after she did so well in BoJack Horseman, I get sad because most of the time it's bad. It's bad movies.
Yeah, it's just depressing and not pleasant, and I don't like it. And what here's the thing. I think it's worse for a film to be boring than for it to be like offensively bad. Which brings me to maybe my biggest argument of the day. This might be the biggest one. I don't know if it's the last one, but it's the biggest one. I have to defend this film, because if I don't, no one else will. Battlefield Earth.
You have my attention.
Okay. Okay. Let me try this one. Okay. Battlefield Earth, as you know, Battlefield Earth is the science fiction epic by famous crazy person L. Ron Hubbard, one of the worst cult leaders in human history, followed up closely by his next in line, whose name eludes me. Battlefield Earth was voted by, I'm assuming, a fair and unexploited poll by the Library of Congress as the greatest novel of the 20th century in the popular vote, followed closely by Dianetics.
Well, what about the Electoral College?
Well, you see, the actual librarians, they voted some dumb book called Ulysses by James Joyce as the best book of the 20th century, but no. Battlefield Earth got the People's Choice Award from the Library of Congress for best book of the 20th century. Again, I'm sure the vote was fair and no one cheated at all. Guaranteed. No way.
I'm sure.
So, already, great source material. George R.R. Martin, in the past, has said, and you can look this up, that he has said this about Battlefield Earth. Not Battlestar Galactica, I'm sorry, I had to get my quotes in place here. He has said, nothing about this book, actually. I lied to you. There's nothing here. But that being said...
so much build up for no payoff.
I was going to say, what is he going to say?
He said nothing whatsoever. But, let's assume for a second that Battlefield Earth is agreed upon by a committee of people who may or may not be on Sea Org as we speak right now, as this great work of fiction. Apparently, the screenwriter himself has apologized for failing to capture the intensity of the book because John Travolta told him to write something else. And John Travolta, New Jersey's beloved John Travolta pushed for this movie to be made for a very long time. And it tells the story of why psychologists are actually bad for you. I mean, of a bunch of aliens called the Cyclos who took over the human race after about a few minutes of fighting. They just won Earth. They beat it. Beat the whole Earth. And it's 1,000 years later, humanity's in ravages, in caves. And what's really strange is when the aliens took over Earth, all the cameras got tilted a certain way so that everything became on a Dutch angle. And as a result, you feel dizzy wherever you're walking in the film because you realize that the gravity does not affect you like it should. It's a story about how humanity with no weapons can figure out how to outsmart the alien forces who beat them with their greatest technology in a few minutes. And then managed to blow up their whole planet because apparently their atmosphere is combustible. Battlefield Earth did not just win worst film of
2000.
2000. It also won. It also had the added bonus of being awarded with the worst film of the 2010s collectively, as a special.
How did it win
award.
worst of the 20? Wait, how did it win for the 2010s? It came out in 2000.
Oh, 20s. I'm sorry, 2020, 2000s. I'm sorry, 20-aughts. My mistake.
I was gonna say it was so bad they bumped it a decade.
They did. I think actually worst film of the 2010s was Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I will not defend here. You couldn't pay me to defend that film.
Oh, I know one worse. And it's actually on the list, but never mind. Go ahead.
Wait, what's the worst one? I'm curious what you think the worst one is.
The Haunting of Sharon Tate.
Okay, actually that one is pretty awful. Like that one actually is morally terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's like movie 43, but that's actually emotional.
That's bad too.
Yeah, definitely so.
So Ant, I'm curious. While we still got the stream going, why are you defending Battlefield Earth? Just
okay.
Why?
Why,
Ant?
So, Jazzy. Have you ever watched this movie while high?
Oh no! You know what?
No, but I watched it while making. You know what? I'll say this. Battlefield Earth is a very fun movie to watch with friends because you are going to have a great time poking fun at it. That being said, it absolutely deserved Worst Picture, and I ain't gonna debate that.
Oh no, this movie deserved it. No, don't get me wrong. It deserved all the awards it got, all the accolades, because it's just that good. I mean, look, its competition was not up to the task. Blair Witch 2, no way. That's just a sad story about a film that didn't live up to its potential because of editing notes. Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas, a disappointing sequel perhaps. No John Goodman or Rick Moranis or Rosie O'Donnell, but again, or Kyle MacLachlan for that matter. So a disappointment. Little Nicky, it's Adam Sandler. I don't know what to tell you. And The Next Best Thing, a movie that has no impact on me whatsoever, and I have never seen it. But Battlefield Earth has the stunning action of just seeing a bunch of weird-looking aliens laughing at John Travolta for like 30 seconds with the sound muted off, apparently.
With endless options for renewal.
Endless options for renewal. Endless options for renewal. With endless options for renewal. The lines in this movie are great. And it tells a human story about why aliens are greedy. And Fort Knox, apparently. It is every single... Battlefield Earth is really proof that just because you take a bunch of science fiction tropes and mash them together like a Frankenstein monster does not mean you can actually make a good movie. In fact, I would argue it proves you cannot make a good movie. This is so bad on so many levels, and I love it because of how bad it is. It is truly the worst. It is...
Oh, yeah. It's hilarious, though.
It's great. It's amazing. And I'll say this, too, because Dune just came out recently. I'm not sure if you heard me talk about Dune recently. I maybe mentioned it once or twice.
Yeah, you very so rarely bring it up.
It's such a subtle... I don't mention it in conversation ever. It's quite rare. So Dune, obviously, when Dune was coming out, I decided to rewatch the made-for-TV Sci-Fi and Hallmark collaboration. Yes, Hallmark helped make the Dune miniseries. Starring William Hurt as Duke Leto Atreides. And...
Oh, Jesus.
And Charles Xavier himself James McAvoy as the Duke Leto 2. The second.
Oh,
I was gonna say the 84 film also had Charles Xavier.
That's
yeah,
also
that's
true.
what I thought you.
That's also true. But that was as not Duncan Idaho. That was as Gurney Halleck, so different character. No. So James McAvoy plays the son who becomes the giant sandworm. Though sadly he does not become the giant sandworm in person. He just enters into the larva of Anyway, Dune's weird. Also, Susan Sarandon's in that miniseries. It's very odd.
Be popping up in places.
Susan Sarandon just shows up in your science fiction stories. But what I love about this Dune is that it captures the aesthetic of late 90s, early 2000s science fiction that I just love. It's why I love Next Gen and Deep Space Nine and a little bit of Voyager. Farscape, Babylon 5. Not Battlestar Galactica, that was when we started getting like the higher budgeted sci-fi shows, but it's like the Stargate, SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, just plain Stargate. Those kinds of movies. And Battlefield Earth captures that wonderful aesthetic of inexpensive looking, probably all filmed on a set or a soundstage, with the occasional shots outside where they just filmed in like the free desert to just film an outdoor scene. And they hope you didn't notice he had facades built to be buildings. Also, Forrest Whitaker's in this movie.
He's the best part. He's
great.
He's like the one decent performance. Like
yeah, everyone else is like the worst acting in the world, and Forrest Whitaker's like knows he's in a crappy movie, but is just kind of going with it and hoping for the best.
Yeah, and I kind of respect him for that.
Oh no, he's great in this, but like. Also, of course, I guess we can't really avoid the fact, I know I haven't brought it up at all, that this is just plain Scientology propaganda.
Yeah.
This is just propaganda for Scientology. And that's awful for a whole bunch of reasons. But, as a piece of art itself, this movie is unique. I don't know what else to say. It's truly mind-boggling it's got made. Because nothing like this has ever been made before or since. Something this egregiously bad. But again,
Jeez.
I will tell you what the worst film to not win a Razzie was. There is one film that was so bad, and not even nominated for a Razzie. Arguably, this is the worst movie I've ever seen.
I'm curious.
And that is... And it's a shame because it actually shows some really good actors. It's called United Passions.
I've never heard of this.
Starring Sam Neill and Tim Roth.
I was gonna say the worst movie I've ever seen that did not win a Razzie was probably Branded. Like, it wasn't even nominated somehow.
Which one? Branded?
Branded.
Branded. Which one's Branded?
It was like a Russian film, basically. It was like a... Yeah, I think it was like a... It was a film primarily made in Russia, though the film's entirely in English, where it's basically... It's trying to be It's trying to be anti-capitalism while also at the same time being anti-communism, saying that they're one and the same, and it's completely illogical.
That's a strange concept, but I will nod and smile and hope for the best with that one.
No, don't hope for the best. It's a fucking void.
Okay, but this is not a void, this movie. United Passions is a film funded by FIFA about the... FIFA, the soccer, arguably the most corrupt organization of all time, released in 2014, which was the height of the FIFA corruption scandals, plural, about how great FIFA is, released right at the time when all these scandals were coming to light.
Oh dear.
Now, here's the thing. As someone with Italian relatives and who has married a person of Cuban descent, I am surrounded by soccer, and football, as they inform me it is to be called. So I was well informed of the controversies that were happening, which made knowing this movie was being made and released even funnier, especially considering that it has Sam Neill from Jurassic Park and Tim Roth from Planet of the Apes in it. Just trying to salvage this train wreck of a movie. It is something else.
I can't even begin.
Yeah, this got released and was released at the height of the corruption scandals. I don't think you can top this one. This is like ethically like the worst thing. And I know someone's gonna say, "Oh, what about like a Serbian film or some like extreme horror film that's deliberately disturbing?" No, those are trying to upset you. This is trying to trick you into thinking FIFA's great.
Trying to trick you into
It's trying to distract you from the news for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. To go on branded for a second, that one's not only just illogical, it's also boring and extremely pretentious. And there's a scene in the movie where the main guy, who's an advertising exec, says advertisers are just as fucking persecuted as homosexuals.
I've seen this movie.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, I've seen the poster for this movie. A cool poster. Is it that bad? It's that bad, huh?
Yeah, it's really fucking bad.
Oh, that's a shame, 'cause that's a cool looking poster.
It is a far better poster than this. You know, this poster shows one scene in the movie that's not even anything like this. Like,
oh, that's a shame, because I would always see this poster on like websites.
This isn't even what the film is about. It is a brief montage scene because he has like there's a plot point in this movie where like he can see the corporations as like kaiju monsters. And this sounds amazing until you realize you're in the last third of the movie. So
it's like,
oh, it sounds like Sucker Punch.
I was gonna say They Live, you know,
right?
with the sunglasses.
It's like someone watched They Live and did not get the point. Like,
oh, that sucks.
Like, no, this is all part of a montage. Most of it is just the main guy being extremely pretentious and boring, and also having Max von Sydow slumming it. So
who's in this movie? Max von Sydow's in this. That's depressing. He's
and Jeffrey Tambor, who absolutely deserves to be in a piece of shit. Fuck
yeah,
him.
that's actually. I looked at the credits like, oh, he's on there. Okay, that's not that deflates my interest in seeing it by a lot. I can really only stomach.
If it helps any. Tambor's character dies halfway through the movie, so...
Oh, okay, that's not so bad, then. That sounds alright.
It's still a fucking god-awful piece of shit movie. But...
That's fair. Alright, Kyla, your choice. Worst film not up for a Razzie, or even nominated.
Oh, man. Well, I think it's going to be interesting because I watch a lot of bad movies, specifically ones that are like on Tubi and stuff like that.
There's some good ones though on Tubi, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, but there's like a particular set of movies that's like that. But mine is actually going to be, I want it to be a contender for this year. Because as of right now, it's the wildest, just bad movie I've seen. And I told y'all about it. Tyler Perry's Mea Culpa, because first of all, I'm mad that he got the tax credit that we give in Chicago for filming. How dare you film this here in this city and get that money? But anyway,
here we go. I spelled Mea Culpa wrong
unfortunately, I have to back out. Like as we're getting to this, unfortunately, because I have some stuff to do. So
no, definitely.
Oh.
No, well, Jazzy, thank you for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Please join us. I do want to hear what Mea Culpa, though, so I'm going to ask you guys to tell me the best
I am curious, but unfortunately, I got to get going. So.
All right, get out of here,
play
Jazzy.
It back.
Alrighty, see y'all.
See you later, Jazzy.
Bye.
All right, Jazzy's.
Oh boy,
Jazzy's gone. I gotta hide her icon. Bye, Jazzy. Here you go. Now you're center. Now you're center on the stream.
It's me.
It's just us again. Okay, you got to.
Boy, what is... Okay, so the thing is that Tyler Perry's dramas are some of his funniest movies made, because he doesn't even, and I'm talking about the ones without Medea, because he's so over dramatic and he's so just soap opera levels melodramatic that it becomes just hilarious, because he's the writer, the director, he does not do second drafts. He just writes and just goes and makes the movie. In fact, the most notorious one, A Fall from Grace, which was in 2019, which kind of got popular on Black Twitter for all the bad wigs, was filmed in 5 days.
Wait, what?
It was, and they bragged about it. I'm like, baby, that is not something to brag about.
They filmed the whole thing in 5 days?
Yes, and you could tell.
Is it,
It was
is,
so bad.
is it like a sound stage? Like, I mean, I know with, again, a lot of what I know about Tyler Perry is thanks to you. You're informing me about this, but like, if I remember correctly, doesn't he like write his scripts like they're like a stage production and film them like a stage performance? Is that kind of what he does, or
Take his earlier films as that, but now he just kind of churns them out because he has his own city at this point. Tyler Perry Studios is a freaking city. He even has a model of the White House for his like White House drama he has on Oprah's TV network. Like we are taught like, and you could tell too at this point it's filmed at his studio because they all have the same freaking red brick all the damn time, like cover it up. So
God, this sounds genuinely bad. Like I mean, again, I've only seen a couple Tyler Perry movies, so my experience is not. I'm no expert. You're the expert in this one, but
yeah, like
it sounds bad.
Well, and it's like, because at least with the earlier stuff, he was able to base it off of the previous work that he did, which was the stage plays. But then he started branching out into other stuff. Like, I want to say, like, because this is supposed to be an erotic thriller. And it is anything but, because like the last erotic thriller he did was Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor, with this dude who was like just straight up evil and like was giving out AIDS like it was candy. I kid you not. Like
what?
Oh my God! Like it's just
what?
Like it was.
What are you doing? Like going to like, the people like saying like not telling you he had AIDS and like, oh God damn it.
Well, cause like cause you know the marriage counselor who's old, like her husband, you know, who works at this freaking pharmacy, like the small town pharmacy, you know, and she's like, I want to be a marriage counselor, and he's like, well, you know, maybe you should put it off for a couple of years till we get, you know, till I get my dream together. And she's like, okay, and she ends up meeting this guy because she's interning at this place run by Vanessa Williams and her secretary Kim Kardashian. Yeah, Kim. This was her first and I think last acting role.
Oh my God. But, of course, be Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah, and like she ends up meeting him, and they kind of have like this affair, and literally like he's just like the minute that they meet, she's just like into him, and they are just like sleeping together, also doing drugs and stuff. Like she just falls into a pit of hell, you know, of sin and debauchery and all this, and kind of like the punishment, quote unquote, that she gets is that she gets AIDS because, and somebody pointed this out in a review I was watching of this movie, is that a lot of Tyler Perry's movies and plays, like as a punishment, someone will get a disease, mainly that. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. Yeah, and I think it's because of like his hang-ups with like sex and all this other stuff, which leads us to Mea Culpa, which is supposed to be an erotic thriller of this lawyer who's having troubles in her marriage, who is taking on this artist who is accused of murdering his girlfriend, and you know they strike up a relationship. They sleep together, and you know she's trying to balance that out with the case and all this other stuff. But the thing is that it's 2 hours long, and the first hour, because my coworker came to me and was like, "Oh, you gotta watch this. It was so bad. Don't watch it on the weekend though. You'll be mad you wasted your time." She's like, "You gotta watch it during the weekday," and I was. Like, the first hour, I was like, okay, this is just typical Tyler Perry stuff. Like, he doesn't know how the law works, so a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, Kelly Rowland, as you can see, is the main star of the movie.
She's too good for this already. I'll say that right now. It feels like she's too good for this movie.
And, like, she, you know, she's dealing with... God, how would I'm trying not to spoil it, but like everything that
I
she's
kind of want to see this now based on how you're pitching it so far. Something so
because
terrible.
the end, because like the first hour, she's just like dealing with everything. Okay, whatever. And then there's a particular scene that happens that I could not stop laughing about because of just how it was going. Because literally, like, there's a whole scene with where she literally descends into a hell pit, quote unquote, which is they show it in the trailer. It's like she enters like a sex dungeon a la 50 Shades, where it's just like all these random people screwing, and it's just like in the what I want to say too, it's in the basement of a parking garage in downtown Chicago.
The sexiest
like,
place in the world, a parking garage.
Do you know, like, do you know how nasty that is?
That just the smell alone. Now, obviously, I've not been to Chicago. That's your territory. But I know New York at least. I know that because walking down like a parking garage there, you got your car odors, you got your human piss, you got your shit on the ground, you got body odor depending on what it is. And if that and that's just New York. And that's a maintained parking garage. I don't have a seedy one. That's probably worse.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, but it's like at this point, it kind of gets like interesting at how crazy it gets. But I kid you not, the last 20 minutes of this movie is some of the wildest stuff. I had to rewind it 3 times to figure out what was going on, because the first time I saw it, I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I got like 20 minutes left. Wait, what? I got 10 minutes left. What is going on? What is happening?
But like that's interesting though, because I mean, it sounds at least like Tyler Perry's doing something that stands out. That's, I think, a plus. But like, because I feel like some of his films, they feel very samey in a lot of ways. Like, I know it. Again, my experience is very limited, but I know with the couple Medea films I've seen, like, they feel like I always feel like I'm watching like a romantic drama, and then like you remember, oh yeah, there's Medea in this movie, but it's like a weird...
Oh yeah, because we watched
the first one,
Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which honestly I was looking back now and I realized why it was a little bit better than the rest, because he wasn't directing, that was a different director.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, because I did watch another one. Cause I know I watched that one with you, and then I saw another one. I think it was Boo. I think it was.
Oh God!
Because I was like, okay. At first I'm thinking, okay, it's an interesting style. I want to see more of this guy's work, and because I'm thinking, oh, I like scary stuff. I like spooky things. It's like a comedy. It's like a spooky comedy. It'll be fun.
But do you know how that got made?
I do not, but I feel like I want to know. I don't know, but I want to know.
All right. Do you remember the Chris Rock movie Top 5?
Which one was that? I might remember the plot more than the name, I think.
Well, the main thing is that there was a joke in that movie about how the film Chris Rock was in was being beat out in the box office by Tyler Perry's Medea's Haunted House. And they thought it was such a funny joke, ha ha, hee hee, that they decided to actually make the movie. And that is how we got Boo Medea Halloween.
That is amazing. I kind of love that. I kind of love how that's the origin of this.
It's like when Adam Sandler threatened us with, if I don't win an Oscar for Uncut Gems, I am going to do
like
Halloween.
Oh God. And that was actually a good movie though. Like, that was actually, Adam Sandler Halloween movie was actually pretty okay. I like that one. That was decent, but Uncut Gems is amazing.
Yeah, but it's just like this is not a threat. This is a promise.
Oh, and I just found Boo so strange because of like how like I didn't think all the marketing made it look like it was like spooky, like a spooky joke movie, and Medea. And then you watch it, and it's like this weird romantic drama that's like kind of uncomfortable. And I'm thinking like, I don't know how I feel about this right now. It just makes me feel like I'm watching something private that I shouldn't be like in the room watching. And not like in a way where it's like this drama. It's like you walked in on like your friends arguing, and you just kind of stuck there, and you have like a bowl of like guacamole in your hands. You kind of like going, I don't know what I want to do right now. I don't know if I should leave.
Yeah, your friends getting yelled at by their parent, and you're just like,
and just like, this is really uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. That's the whole movie. And it doesn't get any better. It's just that uncomfortable feeling, and then there's like spurts of humor, and you're like, wait, hang on. And then just when you get comfortable with the humor, it goes right back to the uncomfortable shouting.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. But yeah, so there you go on how that was made. But honestly, I recommend, like, I hate to give this thing views, but even if I told you what the plot and the ending was, y'all wouldn't believe me. It's something you gotta see to believe.
Oh, I'm gonna take your word on this one, and I will probably, much like Jazzy will mention when she watches Catwoman, you will see a tweet or a random message on TikTok in a few days when I'm going like, Kyla, what the fuck did you make me watch?
And like my coworker said, watch it during a weekday. She watched a review of somebody doing it, and they called it a Tubi Tuesday movie. And I was like, that's exactly it. Because it's something, because like if you spend 2 hours on a Saturday watching this, you're going to be mad, and not just yourself, but me too. So don't do it.
Oh my god. Actually, speaking of Tubi, did you hear they started censoring some of their movies?
No.
I was reading about this somewhere. Mind you, I'm not 100% certain this is true. I'm basing this off of things I'm reading online from like people who worked with Full Moon Productions specifically, that apparently they're being told to cut out a few scenes for Tubi because the advertisers were getting upset with Full Moon specifically. First off, Kyla, how familiar are you with Full Moon as a company? Do you know what they do or who they are?
No.
Okay, so Full Moon is Charles Band's company. He's like a schlock producer. He does a lot of like really low budget but entertaining films. Like he makes consistently fun movies, like Puppet Master, Ginger Dead Man, Evil Bong. He's that guy.
Okay.
And he's also done a lot. He did a lot for he did some good movies too, like Herbert West, the Reanimator, from Beyond, Castle Freak. So he's done some good movies. The Pit and the Pendulum movie he did is pretty good. But he's mainly known for making these low-budget, fun, schlocky movies that come out every so often. But most of his films are on Tubi because they're low-budget, they don't cost much to make, and so just putting on Tubi with the ad revenue alone, he's making a decent profit off people watching them. Anyway, he also did make a movie that had Bill Maher in it that was horrible. That Bill Maher, yeah. But so apparently his guys were being told to cut out whole chunks of, okay, not Brian Usna, it's although he worked with Brian Usna too, it's I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. Oh, he sounds like Roger Corman. Yeah, he does sound like Roger Corman. So they cut out a bunch of his more exploitative films. There were scenes that were cut out that were like lots and lots of boobs, lots and lots of blood, because the advertisers were threatening to withdraw advertising from those movies unless they toned down a bit of the violence, because Tubi's, as you know, is an ad revenue site.
Right.
But I'm not sure how many it applies to. Like, for example, I don't think Puppet Master would be affected all that much, except for the one that had like the really nasty pregnancy scene that was like really foul, but like beyond that, I can't think of anything else that would be really affected by that. I don't think Evil Bong would be affected by that unless the advertisers are really upset by the existence of bongs. And really bizarre bras, like really weird bras. I think Evil was hoping to make like a fashion line of bras based on this movie. Because like these scenes in the movie in Evil Bong where these characters they are sucked into the world of the bong, and they get surrounded by these. This is the plot of the movie. They find an evil bong. It actually, I think, belongs to Cheech Marin. I think it's either Cheech or Chong, one of the two. It's like his bong, his special bong, and it's like a cursed bong that like it's like Cell from Dragon Ball Z. The more it absorbs, the more it starts to regenerate to reach its true perfect form. And this is the plot of the movie. I'm not making this up. It sucks people in, and then when they get sucked into the bong world, which is like basically like a cheap nightclub set with like the fog machine on a little too hard, there are these women who are scantily clad but wearing like these monster themed bras. Like one woman I remember specifically has a bra with shark jaws on it. it's just a shark. It's like a cheap Jaws shark with like the open maw, and like and of course someone goes and reaches for the brassiere, and then the shark jaws clamp down his hands, and that's how he gets his soul ensnared by the bong. By the people bong. It's amazing. Full moon movies are a work of art. They're most of them are not good, but they're not good in a way that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I got introduced. I can see that happening though and probably with other movies, because there's so I got into the Tubi movies after someone I watch on here, Kenny JD. She has a series called Bad Movies in a Beat, and she was doing a lot of those movies, and the one that sucked me in was it's called He Played Me. And the plot is just all over the place. Like, it's just outrageous. It, like, the description, when you look it up, it don't do it justice.
Yasmin has been in a sexless, loveless marriage for the past 2 years. Oh, that's actually, yeah. Until the charming Jai comes strolling into her life. When their two worlds collide, a whirlwind romance will quickly turn into the fight of Yasmin's life.
Oh, baby,
What
that don't
is
even...
this?
They missed the whole lesbian subplot at the beginning. Like, we ain't even touched that.
Subplot.
Yeah, at the beginning. And I really want to quickly say, someone mentioned Acrimony in the chat, and yes, Acrimony is one of Tyler Perry's more insane films, because that's a whole baby, Acrimony. Ooh. But yeah, He Played Me was the first movie that I saw from there, and then I just kind of started watching the movies that she reviewed. So it's that. My side piece won the lotto, featuring someone who I remember from reality TV, which is Mama D from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So I was really excited about that.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, so that, and honestly, going to that other comment when you get the chance, Acrimony, Taraji P. Henson. She played the hell out of that role, but Acrimony, that's a Tyler Perry movie, but oh god, that movie was crazy.
These are interesting films. Actually, I recognize this poster. I've seen this before. I don't know the movie, but I've seen this poster before. Probably online somewhere, but I've never seen the movie itself. I didn't realize it was Tyler Perry either. Although now that I'm looking at it, it says Tyler Perry right in the poster, so I probably should have picked up on that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I know it's getting a little late, so I'll probably cut it off, I think, right now. I think we have a big list for anyone who's watched this all the way to the end.
We should set up the Tyler Perry Awards, I think, at this point.
I would be down to watch all these Tyler Perry movies with you. I'll be honest with you. I'm down to watch these because I'm curious.
Oh, I don't...
Oh my god. Just watch all these. Because I've only seen a couple, but like, most of these are just like, totally new to me.
Oh brother.
Goodness. This alone, this might either be really good or really bad. I have no idea. Based purely on
it's honestly, it's kind of both. It's really both, but like I said, them endings, I'll give him that. He probably does, while they may not make sense, them twists are like, M. Night wishes he could think of that.
Oh my goodness.
Some of them are just like, ow.
I'm seeing a comment here saying that they expected us to talk about I Know Who Killed Me. I don't have a strong opinion on that movie, I'll be honest with you. I
barely remember it, to be honest.
I don't know who killed her. Like, it's just, I think that one's okay. From what I remember, I don't remember it too vividly, that's the problem. But that's other times, we do more streams, I guarantee it. There'll be other occasions to talk about bad movies. Anyway, Kyle, thanks so much for joining me on this extended stream.
Oh, of course.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, So I'm going to wrap things up now because I'm going to need to get some water because we've been talking for like over 2 hours. Almost 2.5 hours. Wow. And yeah, Kyle, I'll see you later, all right?
All right.
All right.